Hello and welcome back to Novel Gaming, a podcast about books and video games with a few sightings of other pop culture bits. I'm Vicky.
I'm Doug.
And I'm Katie.
And we're back for another book club episode.
Woo!
Yeah. This month we read Dear Mothman, a novel in verse by Robin Gow. But before we take a deep dive into cryptids, let's check in on some of the things we've been playing, watching, and thinking about lately. So, Doug, are you playing anything fun?
I think so far.
Ooh.
After last episode's discussion, I felt like I needed to experience something we talked about for myself just to see what the deal was with it. So I have started to play Tales of the Shire.
Whoa.
I am so happy. Please tell me everything.
Tell us more.
So, I mean, I would have loved to have played a lot more before we talked about it, but I've played maybe about 5 or 6 days in Tales of the Shire.
Okay.
I just was really curious because I was getting the sense that it was just like a very different type of cozy game than I think the big sort of big name cozy games.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really interested in like why people were having such a big reaction to it. And there seemed to be a bit of a disparity between like what the performance might have looked like on different systems. So I got it for PC specifically because what I heard most of the time was that it was performing really poorly on Switch. And the folks that were having a hard time were having a hard time on Switch. So I got it on PC, and what I'll say right off the bat is that like it's been running fine. Like I have not run into any issues on PC. I do think the game's a little bit ugly, but that's okay.
How could you make Hobbiton ugly?
It's more the aesthetic is fine. I just think, you know, it's
the characters.
I don't know. It's not necessarily like a smooth looking game all the time as far as like how things are actually designed or modeled.
Okay.
But it's fine. It's like intentional. It's part of it's clearly part of the design. But I do think what's interesting is I think there must be a lot of different reactions, some of which I think make a lot of sense that are just like objective sort of performance ones. I also think there are probably a lot of reactions to what the game actually is versus what people thought it might be based on it being in the category of cozy games. I think the big name cozy games are like Stardew Valley and now Coral Island and Harvest Moon. And a lot of them tend to be like farming simulators.
Yeah.
And this one isn't really that. The way I would describe Tales of the Shire is that it is like a Hobbit life sim, and it is like a relationship over meals sim. So like so far what I have learned to do and what the mechanics for getting to know people and achieving things is, and they tell you this really, really soon, is like you will want to get to know people, but the way that you get to know people in Bywater is by preparing meals for them and inviting them over. And so really quickly you start gathering ingredients and you learn a little bit of how gardening works and you learn how to fish. And it's also that you can prepare a couple meals to meet your first people. And I think more so than like gift giving or hanging out or just sort of randomly talking to people, the way that you get to know them and hear their stories and increase their relationship with them is by making meals, learning new recipes, collecting new ingredients, and then inviting them over to your hobbit hole. So I think that seems like what the sort of gameplay cycle is.
Okay.
What I don't know yet is like how big the world is. If the world is only like if it's contained specifically to Bywater, it might end up feeling very small pretty quickly, but I don't know how far or in what directions or in what ways the setting might grow. That's the thing I don't know yet.
Okay.
But so far, I think it's fine. I'm still kind of in the learning phase, so it's hard to do like a full sort of impression or assessment, but I think it's interesting in that it's different than other games I've played. I think some people with cozy games, I mean, we talked about this, right? Like a lot of times with a cozy game, you're looking for something familiar because you want it to be cozy. And so I can see why people wouldn't love how different and specific this one is, but I think it's interesting that it is specific and different. So
I love that.
So far, okay.
Okay.
You know, still some things I want to explore and check out.
Good. I mean, it wouldn't make
That's cool.
sense for a Hobbit game, a Shire game. Like the hobbits, they eat a lot. Like that's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, they sit, they drink, you know, they socialize. They're not necessarily out there doing the like exploring and deep mining, and so that feels authentic at least.
Yeah, I looked at some of the criticisms, and like one of the big ones was like there's no combat and there's no like equivalent to like a mine or something, and I think that's very
Really?
intentional. You know
That's
what I mean?
a weird. Who would? I wouldn't
Did-
even expect that to be. There was never any whiff of combat in any of
Right.
these like
Right.
promotional things for this game.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I think like if I were to look at the big picture of reviews, I think some of them are pretty objective. I think as far as like performance and how things might look and sort of what the
Yeah.
scope of like the content is, like how much is in there. Also like particularly relevant to Katie's interests. I was like a little underwhelmed with the character creator considering you get to make your own Hobbit.
Yeah.
But I think, I think you gain clothing and stuff like that. I think the customization is more focused on your actual Hobbit hull. Like you are able
Okay.
to move everything around, and there's lots of options right off the bat to make the interior and a little bit of your exterior Hobbit hull look the way you want it to. So it's interesting. It is very, very interesting. I think I will need to know how deep the gameplay goes before I can like fully decide where it falls for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll play more.
Oh yeah, no,
Good.
I've been wanting to play more, so I could get a better sense of it, and so that I could see some of the things I know they're sort of like brewing towards.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yay.
So that's what I've been playing.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was sort of like a more clinical like report.
I
But,
love it.
Yeah.
I was really curious, and I'm glad that I'm playing it. So,
Yeah. Cool.
Katie, what have you been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing a game that just recently came out also. It's a little puzzle game called Is This Seat Taken?
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. My husband clocked that for you.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Damn.
like I said, I think this is a game that Katie would like.
Knows me.
Literally. Yes.
Called me.
Whoa. Whoa. I'll have to tell
Damn.
him. Keep going.
Damn.
Yes.
Yeah. Called it. Yeah. So it's so I've talked before about not always feeling good about puzzle games, but I also do like certain types of puzzle games. And the types of puzzle games I like are like, Is This Seat Taken? And some other ones, right? The Lego Journeys or whatever it was called is also a game I like. But this game is there are little scenes in front of you where it's on a bus, it's in a restaurant, it's at a club, it's in an office, and it's on a plane or in like an airport, and there's little people that populate. The people are all different shapes, and the people all have different needs and wants. So they'll, on a bus, they'll say, I want a window seat. And then there'll be somebody who's like, I want an aisle seat. And then there's somebody who's like, I want an aisle seat and I forgot to shower, so I'm a little stinky. And then someone will be like, I don't like bad smells. And so you have to figure out where do we place these little shape people so that everybody gets what they want within this space. And as you go, you travel throughout different places. So like Barcelona is a city, New York is a city, right? London. You're in these like places, but it doesn't super impact like what you're actually doing or like the design. It's just the bus might be red in London instead of purple, sort of thing. But it's really cute. I'm pretty sure it's a relatively short game. It's been fun to like just pop on and play through like one stream of levels, because each level contains kind of like mini things. So on the bus, for example, you'll do a stop and then there'll be like 3 more stops before you beat that level, sort of thing. And then when you get all the stars on one of the cities, you unlock a bonus one. One of my favorites was like a dating one
What?
where people are like, I'm interested. It's like speed dating. I'm interested in
Oh,
someone
that's
who's
cute.
funny. And there's little characters that have like clown hair. And you're like, okay, so I need to put this person with the clown haired person. So there's little visual cues on the characters too, as to some of the things that they either as attributes have or things they want. Like there'd be a little sweat drop if they're hot and you need to put them in the air conditioned spot,
Yeah.
So it's very cool and I'm really liking it and it's fun.
Nice. Nice. I liked watching. I'm going to bring up the Indie World thing, but I saw that game on that stream, and I was like, oh, this is like super cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad it's actually good.
Yes. Very enjoyable to play.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds cool. It sounds like it has elements of. Have you ever played Kukio Me Consider It?
No.
Either one of you?
No.
Wait,
It's like,
maybe. Is that the like quick one?
yeah, it's like more micro games, but it is
Yes.
also sort of like figure out where to sit or figure out like what you need to do in this little situation. And then I talked about a game last year called Minami Lane where you have like a street and you have people moving in and you have to determine like what shops or like what attractions. But it feels like sort of a combo of those two things. And I like both those a lot. So I feel like I'm going to dig this game.
In this game, one of the characters, because there's like a little story, you know, it's not much of a story, but there's like a little story and there's sometimes dialogue. And at one point, one of the characters shouted out Minami Lane as like a
my
thing.
God.
So I didn't look into the connection between the two games or whatever.
Yeah.
It could just be this game appreciates and loves that game, or there might be some overlap in some way, shape, or form. But it's funny you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So
Oh my
did I.
gosh. Yeah. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah. Well, Vicky, what are you playing? Tell us what cozy game you're playing.
Oh, super cozy. It's not cozy. Just in that traditional sense, I guess. I don't know.
Cozy's
cozy
subjective.
for you.
know,
Cozy for me.
God of War is cozy for Vicky.
It is cozy for me. But that is not something I'm going to bring up today to talk about. I always do. But this one, I've been playing Death Stranding 2 on the beach. I don't think
Love
I've
that
really
title.
gotten to talk. I know. It
Wait, is that actually the title? Is on the beach?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't realize that was part of the actual title, like the subtitle or whatever.
If you have no... Okay, so I'm probably
That's
going
so
to
funny.
say things that may or may not spoil Death Stranding 2, so just heads up on that. But on the beach refers to... Beaches are kind of like purgatory, for lack of a better... I don't know, for like layman term. This intermediary between like the living, land of the living and the dead. So like... That's what on the beach is. It's not like I'm on
Like
vacation.
actual beaches are
Yeah.
purgatory?
Yeah, it's like the
Oh my
visual
gosh,
of it.
like a weird limbo state.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep, and you can like travel to beaches, or if you're a repatriate, like say I'm the main character, like you can never die. So like you have a beach, you go to the beach, but then you come back from the beach. It's a whole thing.
Wow.
So it's not
This means
summer vacay.
nothing.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. I went way too deep into that.
If you're a patriot.
So it is a cozy game. Beaches on Stardew, beaches in Coral Island, beaches in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
You're clearing
you
the
know?
ocean.
You
for the
are.
souls.
You have to pick up all the lost cargo in the land.
Look at
But
that.
anyway,
We love
yes.
cleaning trash.
Yes. So I've been playing that. I beat it. I played it. Oh my God. I beat it like very quickly. I played it like straight through, which was good, but not, I don't know. I feel like I played it too fast. Do y'all ever have that feeling where it's like, I was not rushing through, but I know I needed to know what happened in the story.
Yeah, I think that's tough with like a game that has a good narrative, but also has like the ability to explore. I feel like that is a balance I feel like I am always consciously trying to strike with the Insomniac Spider-Man games.
Yeah.
Because you can do so much in those games, but also you can just do the story if you want,
Right.
and the stories are good. And I'm always sort of like, if I do the story too fast, will I want to do the other stuff? And so I try to be really, intentional about that. So I don't know if it's the same thing, but that's sort of my reference point for it.
Yeah. I think very much
Is it more like, oh, okay. I was going to ask if it was more like thematic or like you wish you had more time to like, instead of playing it all at once, spreading it out and being able to think about it more as you're actively playing it sort of thing.
Maybe a little bit of both. Like the optional things are all side missions. It's honestly like a little fetch questy. If I had to like reduce it to that, it's like you're going to do things, but a lot of the story.
I find fetch quests satisfying personally. So.
Well, and the way they design it, Kojima knows like how to get people. You got, I got. I'm still got it. You can do things like if you could pick up an order, and instead of getting the S through probably F rank, which gets you points to do other things. You can get Legend of Legends. You can get Legend or Legend of Legends. And so some people don't even, I just learned this. So like I will do a platinum run, and this one is substantially easier than the first one. So that will be no problem. It's just hours, not difficulty. Some people do, I think they call it a perfect run, where all of the missions, all the standard orders, they have to get Legend of Legend. And those are on like the brutal category.
Difficulty.
So yeah, but like you unlock some of the cool story bits by doing the side stuff. Like there's all these hidden components that you might never encounter if you don't do it. So I'm doing it now, but I'm like, should I have savored the story a little bit to like sit in it? Because it took me like probably a week after I beat it to come to terms with what the story did. And I think it's very good. It's not what I would have wanted. But it's good. Like yeah. So I don't know.
That makes sense.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know. I know these are different games, but like Baldur's Gate 3, as you were talking about, I know like these other side bits have like cool story stuff, and like I know that there's stuff I would be missing. Like you could play it again, give yourself a break and come back to it and take a different pace and do different things. And, like you don't, or you can watch people do it, too. Like you don't have to do it, but you could watch people do it. 'Cause like, I don't know, you played it at the pace you were feeling at the time. And as someone who doesn't have kids, I'm guessing you have to also be like intentional about carving out time to be able to do that. And so you won't always have opportunities, with like a child running around, trying to get your attention, to be able to be like, I'm just going to give a day to Death Stranding 2,
Yeah. And that is essentially what I did. So it came out on a Thursday night. We picked it up. I started it. I took the day off on Friday and played for 8 hours, which I will never do again. Like, it was one of those where it's like, hell yeah. I know. I have this time available to me, but also, like, I really want to stop. So I did that, and then we pretty much just played at night. And the last two, they trick you, because it's like, oh, this is the last mission. So I'm like, oh, great. Like, couple hours, wrap it up.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, exactly. Like, another 15 hours later. So I stayed up late, very late, like 2 nights to finish it, which was good and fine, but like, not ideal timeline for stuff. But it is a good game. It lives up to the hype. It is so fucking weird, which is amazing. I can't get a weird thing that happened to replicate in my husband's game, and I really want him to see it because it was so weird. So I need to figure out how to make it happen.
Interesting.
It's like a musical dance feature.
Literally everything I learned about this game is like so confusing, and I just need to play. I just need to play them
because
really I just don't
understand.
I can't fathom.
Well, and it's like, I can't even. It's just so weird. It's so good.
Because I heard like mechanically, Death Stranding 2 is easier and like it gives you quality of life things much sooner than in the first one. How much does knowing the first game help in playing the second? Could you just jump into Death Stranding 2 with better mechanics?
That is a great question. You absolutely can. They have a corpus, which
tell me what that means.
Yes. So it's like a weird, I think the Latin corpus corpi is body, masculine body. But it's like your encyclopedia, basically. So as they're talking, like even in the opening cutscene, and they're referencing things, and you're like, what the F is this? An icon pops up that's like pauses the cutscene. You can open the corpus, and then it'll explain like, chiral printing, that's XYZ. That being said, it's a lot to take in if you don't know what a beach is.
Yeah.
Yes. And personally, I think the emotional draw of the first game, like that game deeply affected me this second game has as well for different reasons, but I still think the first one, the story is just like so much deeper. Not deeper. I don't know. It's just shocking and surprising in different ways. So you absolutely could play it. I still think you probably should play one first, just so you like understand. But yeah, the mechanics are so much better. They did such a good job with like quality of life. Yeah, the first game, if you quickly, if you killed somebody, you get weapons. If you kill them with a gun, you have to pick up their body and take them to an incinerator facility, because if you don't, and the BTs, which are like these essentially ghosts, again, like layman's terms, ghosts, interact.
How do you feel telling us these things?
I mean, I feel great, but I also feel like I sound like
the BTs, which are...
Yeah, I'm using my hands to like show...
I like that. Like every time you say a word that like means something to me, you have to then clarify that it doesn't mean the thing that I probably think it means.
Yeah, you know, like ghost is the easiest way to explain BTs, but like they're not ghosts. But if it interacts with like a human in a certain way, it can cause a void out, which is a big explosion, and like a lot of big cities were
and that's only
obliterated.
If you kill them with guns.
Yes, but so you have to like be
anti-gun
creative in how you
game.
do it. Yes,
Love to see
that
it.
is part of Kojima's MO. The U.S. is gun obsessed. How do we address this in a game? But then this game, you get rubber bullets, so you can use the gun straight from the bat. You don't kill people, you stun them. Later in the game, which I just learned, you actually can kill people accidentally with real weapons. You don't have to take them to the incinerator. You can, but if you don't, it doesn't cause a void out. The corpse disposal unit will come and get them and then handle it for you in the background. Little smoke and mirrors of the game. God, I feel good explaining all of this to you.
Funny. It's just so funny because sometimes I think
going.
about like when people ask me what I get up to and I tell them about video games I'm doing. Like when I was like really playing Baldur's Gate 3 and I was like loving it, I'd be like, I'm talking to a person who doesn't play video games. How do I speak and not get weird?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one I would probably reduce to, you play as a porter. You get cargo and you deliver it places and you try and like reconnect the U.S. after this big natural disaster. Which is like nothing of what I just said in the past 10 minutes. But that's like...
Beaches.
Yeah.
It starts you off in a direction of understanding.
Yeah.
And if you end there, you have, a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks for trusting us with the real nerd shit.
Yeah. And just thanks for nodding along and pretending like it made sense. And if you...
We got just.
Yeah, like maybe somebody understands what I said, and that was good. Doug, are you watching anything?
Okay, I did watch something that I really want to talk about, but I'm pretty confident neither one of you has seen it, and I don't know if either one of you will see it, but I'm still going to mention it in case you're intrigued. And also because if anybody listening to it has watched it, I want to talk to people about it. I saw the movie Weapons this weekend.
I've been seeing stuff about it.
I know nothing about it.
And I can't talk about it because the trailer for Weapons, everything basically is from like the first 10 minutes of the movie.
Oh, good job, Weapons.
I know. It's incredible. So like things start happening really soon and I'm like, what? Like truly, genuinely surprised very early in the movie. And it gets you to a point where you're like, anything I thought this movie might have been, I can't think anymore. Like it truly could have no idea. Basically, Vicky, you said you haven't really heard of this one at all,
Yeah, I know
right?
nothing about it.
So Weapons is it's a scary movie.
Oh, that's fine.
But I will say the trailer's maybe a little scarier than the movie itself. Okay. It's still a scary movie though. And the idea is that one day in the middle of the night, one classroom of kids all just got up in the middle of the night and walked away. And so the whole thing is like this small town sort of being like, what happened to the kids? Why did the teacher not disappear? What was happening in the classroom? Why doesn't anyone know anything? And so the town is sort of like directing all their hostility like at her because it's the only place that they really can sort of like begin to try to understand what happened. Yeah. And that's kind of like what you know going in. But it's so cool. It's so wild. It is like just just twist and turny type of ride where you're sort of like, I just truly can't expect what's going to happen next. And it's so good and so fun, and it has amazing people in it, and I just want to talk to people about it. So if either one of you happens to catch it, you have to let me know. And then anybody listening to this who's watched it, you're required to message me about it because I need to talk about weapons.
So I heard
It's
you
very
say the trailer is potentially scarier than the movie. In terms of scariness, because I haven't watched the trailer. I've just seen people talking about it. So, I mean, I could check out the trailer just to gauge whether I think I can handle it.
This is a great question.
But is there like a scary meter? Where on the scary meter or other scariness of other films would you kind of rank this?
So what I mean by the trailer being scarier is I think the trailer gives an impression that the movie is like a particular specific type of scary. I think the types of scary this movie has involved, there are some jump scares, not a ton. There is like maybe a couple moments where a friend of mine who doesn't like scary movies said that he covered his eyes not to look. Okay. So there's like a few of those. But there's also like moments that are like kind of funny and like are meant to be.
Oh, cool.
So it's I don't think, you know, it's not like Long Legs or anything where like people are walking up being like, "That's the scariest movie I ever saw in my life." So I think you tend to know when something you don't want to see is coming, and so you can pretty easily not look at things if you don't want to.
Gotcha.
And still sort of get the story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I just saw from quick Google that Julia Garner's in it.
She is.
Is she good? I love her.
I like her. She was also in Wolfman, which was a scary movie.
Ooh.
And I don't know how I feel about the movie Wolfman, but I liked her a lot in it.
Yeah.
And I heard she's in Ozark, which is what I think a lot of people know her from, and I haven't seen that, but I'm beginning to I appreciate her a lot.
Yeah.
So now I kind of want to watch everything that she's in.
She did the Anna Delvey, not documentary, but remember making
like the dramatization thing or whatever?
Yes, and
I didn't know that.
She's unrecognizable if you know her as she looks in this movie. She did a really good job, so you should watch that as well.
Okay.
Different genre completely, but very fascinating.
Yeah. Cool. Well, you know, I watched Weapons.
Yeah.
That's mostly what I can say.
And it's a movie that makes you want to talk about it.
And it's a movie that really makes me want to talk about it. It's a movie that I can't stop thinking about. And like at work, people are like, I heard you saw Weapons. And I'm like, we need to go in the hallway because we can't talk about it around other people because they might see it and we don't want them to know things, you know? It's that type of movie. So yeah. Well, Katie, what have you been watching?
Yeah, so I also watched a movie. I watched KPop Demon Hunters.
I want to watch it.
I need to watch this.
Tell
us some of your feelings and thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really fun and cute. It's like an hour and a half, which is beautiful. It's animated super coolly. So not only how things look, but how they move throughout and the way they animate facial expressions and things like that. Very cool. And action sequences, right? It's got it all. It's got music. It's got action. It's got emotions. It's got fun colors. It's got a cat type creature that has.
I've seen the cat creature.
Yeah, that has like a funny little bit. I really liked it. It's about a K-pop group of 3 young women. I don't know how old they are exactly. It seems like they live together by themselves. So they're, I'm guessing, young adults who have to do certain things in order to protect the world from demons. And there are some twists and complications, and they sing through it.
Lovely.
You were talking about how it's animated and the action and stuff like that. I feel like it is worth mentioning that the studio who animated this is the same studio that did the Spider-Verse movies.
I was gonna say it feels like that, but then I was like, I don't know. I don't want to like put that on them. But then it makes total sense. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very good. The like hype about it, I feel like is it's worth the hype. And allegedly, the like one of the songs is like legit charting amongst
Yeah.
regular non-movie
Yeah.
music.
It totally is, and it's like it's like breaking. I don't know if breaking records is the right term, but it is hitting firsts. Like it is the first this. It is the first that. It's the. I mean, I talked about Music League like a couple months ago on the podcast. My group chat for that like can't stop talking about it. So they were just saying earlier today, like, oh my god, I was driving home and I heard Golden from K-pop Demon Hunters. So
Yeah.
it's a big deal. It's getting a theatrical release, like a limited theatrical release.
That's
Yeah.
fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm really hoping they'll do ones that aren't sing-alongs, because I've only seen so far that they're sing-along ones, which are fun.
Different
They're
experience.
great for the people who've already seen it and want
Community
collective
vibe.
community vibe. But I'll be seeing it for the first time, so I would love a not
that.
sing-along version. Regal
Yeah.
Cinemas, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the reasons, in addition to why I chose to watch this, in addition to like everybody talking about it and saying it's good, is so my library was doing this like community sketchbook program, and you check out a sketchbook, you draw up to 2 pages, return it, and other people check it out. And so I checked one out to add my pages, and there was definitely a little kid drawing of the trio from K-pop Demon Hunters, and I was like, I must watch this now. Shout out to whatever child drew that.
Okay, I have a question as someone who works at a library, a logistical question.
Yes.
Do you check it out? Like, is it a circulating item, or is it just like so it's not just like a trust thing, like
correct.
Take it
you
and
check
bring
it out.
thing.
You have a week to do your stuff and bring it back.
That's amazing.
I'm gonna ask people at work if this is a thing we can do.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, that's
you
so
should.
cool.
It was very
that's
cool.
Awesome.
And there's
Amazing.
multiple sketchbooks going around, because I think the one I got, they were like, oh, we actually got like a newer one because so many were circulating. So yeah, here's one. So there was very few drawings in it, but one of them was K-pop Demon Hunter.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's so precious.
Yes.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. Vicky, what are you watching?
Well, I started the new season of Project Runway.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ooh, Utica. Utica's on it.
Ethan.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
drag queen Utica, aka Ethan, is on Project Runway.
As
yeah.
what?
And like
A contestant.
Whoa.
Yeah. As Ethan.
Sorry, Vicky, I just got really excited.
No, I know. I knew you'd be excited about this. So a couple things. Heidi Klum is back with like a lot of face work. She looks very good, but like she's had a lot of face work done. Girl.
Get it.
Yeah. But still Heidi. Christian Siriano is the host and just like
nice.
cuts people.
Oh.
Yeah.
In like a mean way, or in like just like a
it seems
slightly
like
shady
it.
way?
I think a slightly shady way. Because it's good, honest
Is it more
feedback, but it's
like
very
Tim
direct.
Gunn, or
It's like Tim
Isaac? Wait, who's the guy? Michael Kors.
more Michael Kors, but it's like
Oh no!
but it's Michael Kors is like sassy to be sassy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But like Christian Siriano is like very direct, but like told someone this past episode, Law Roach, who is now the replacement for Michael Kors,
Who is also extremely brutal in critiques.
So Christian told somebody, Law is going to drag you across the floor, something to that effect, like straight up, like, what are you doing? He is going to like rip you up. So it's like that.
That sounds like a kindness, honestly.
Yeah, well, telling them earlier so they could do some stuff before.
And that is what he has done, which I really appreciate. So it's like very direct, very pointed, and like has said, my intern could make that in 3 hours. Like, this needs to like get judged. So I am here for that, even though it's like a little. I'm very surprised, but it's like,
well,
woo.
Christian Siriano, wasn't he on like season 4 or 5? Like, that's when the show was still
OG.
like nasty.
Yeah.
So he's a product of it.
Yeah, and I think they're cultivating a lot of drama, specifically with Ethan. So TBD and they kick people off the start of the next episode. So we're through episode 3, episode 4 drops this Friday. So
I hate when they do that.
I know. There's a set of twins and they're just like unpleasant.
Oh no.
Yeah, and like super arrogant. Whatever. But it's like So good. And of course, they introduce Ethan and he goes, "You may know me. I was on a show called RuPaul's Drag Race." And then the still they show is the blanket dress. Because, like, obviously, that is burned into my eyes. Like, I want that sleeping bag dress still.
Remember when they didn't win that challenge?
Oh my God.
That's unbelievable. Anyway, that's a different conversation. But that's I'm glad they showed it. I'm also glad they're not afraid to say the name of another show.
I was very surprised. And Ethan, this past episode, came on as Utica. So, like, that's been a cool kind of crossing of things. I think that's
fun.
I don't know if they're maybe drumming up, like, viewership by, like, oh, look, there's this other person. But so I don't know if it's authentic or not, but it's cool to watch. You know, I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. So it's good.
It is an wait, how are you? What are you watching it on?
Oh, so Hulu, but also Disney Plus has it. And I got kicked off the Hulu household again, but I can watch it on Disney, so we're doing that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That means I can watch this with you. Great.
Good. Oh, yeah. Catch up, please.
It is interesting to see what a lot of the like artists who get famous or get a big platform from Drag Race do when they end up on other platforms. Because, and Bob the Drag Queen has talked a lot about this, which is like, just because you know me as a drag queen doesn't mean I have to be a drag queen in public at every single event because you expect me to be. Like, I'm still also like a person who goes to things. And so it's interesting to see when they end up on another show or when they go to a televised event or when they go to an award show, like, do they show up in drag or not? And I kind of appreciate, based on how I've heard Bob talk about it, like, when they don't, because you know that the show probably wants Ethan to be Utica when possible. And so I'm glad that he doesn't have to be all the time.
Yeah, literally.
Especially when you're working on something that you wouldn't typically do in drag.
Oh my God. I know. Well, and like he was sewing with like long nails, like long gloved nails, threading a thing. I'm like, this is a recipe for disaster. Like, this doesn't.
It's too much.
Even on Drag Race, like when they're sewing, they're not in drag. So it's good, but like.
That's so funny.
Whew, more power to Ethan.
Fun. Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah. Are there things folks are thinking about? I've got one.
Tell us.
My brain's fried, so I got nothing.
Cool. So the Nintendo Indie World Showcase thingy bit was on YouTube like last
Official
week.
Title.
And there, yes, all of it, all of those words in that order. It was so good. I didn't know it was happening. I watched it on a whim. Doug, did you watch it?
I didn't see it, but I think you both have, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So you have to tell me what I want.
I liked it better than the direct that happened most recently, you know, before the Indie World Direct thing.
Yeah.
I forgot the direct that happened and I watched that one, so.
Yeah, I think it was fine, but I don't remember anything from the direct. But I literally watched this and like had to pause and make a list of all of the things I wanted to play because they all looked so good. So here's my short list, and then we could talk about it. There's a game called Undusted, Letters of the Past, which I don't think has a release date yet. And some of these are on multiple platforms. So I might explore them elsewhere. But I think essentially like you get these old artifacts, and part of it is like literally dusting them off. Like Power Wash Simulator style.
I see like a toothbrush.
Yeah. Like, you know, so I'm really into that. Herdling is a new game that's out soon by Okomotive, and that's the company that made the Far game. So it's Far Lone Sales, which I played like before the baby got here, and then in the past 6 months finished it. It's only an hour and a half game, but just very cinematic, very simple. Not a lot of dialogue. Beautiful. But you're basically like herding these mythical creatures somewhere.
Oh, I searched hurdling, but like with a U.
Oh, no.
And was so confused.
No, herdling. Almost like a small herd. I don't know.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. And then Burrow, which is billed as a cozy game and might not, you know, for all of the things I was saying about cozy games last week, or like not being all in on Coral Island, this might be the same thing, but it looks super cute. And you play like a little winter mouse. Doing things in a little like mouse hole, so that really spoke to me. But I would want to watch that before or like watch more about it before I buy it.
Yeah.
And then Tiny Bookshop, which I know you both know about.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I did not know this game existed before last week. Did you all?
Oh, it's been on my wish list for a while.
Oh, shut
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's
All,
just
excited.
like,
I mean, describe what it is, and it's going to be everything we've probably ever dreamt of we could have in a video game.
yeah, like
Tell the people, Vicky.
Yeah, my understanding is like you get a little tiny portable bookshop and you get to design it how you want. So like the aesthetic bits, which I actually would be into. And then I think people come and you get to recommend books for them based on like their interest and stuff. And then you get to like go to different areas and do different things. What am I missing? But like that's
No,
like
I
what I
think you
want to
nailed
play
it.
for. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I want to play it so bad. I want to know how some of it works. Like, I know that you kind of pick like how much of what types of books to sort of have in your shop, and I want to know like how do you decide
Great.
that, and like what are you reacting to, and like I want to know.
I'm thinking that will fill because I wanted to play that trading card store simulator.
Oh, trading card shop simulator or
yeah,
whatever.
I did, and I never did.
This is a much prettier game than
No,
that.
no,
I
no,
will
I
tell you
know.
that much.
I think. Oh yeah, I think this will fill that void. You know, if you get to
Nice.
like decide what's in your shop and see what sells and stuff. So,
Oh, I'm very
yeah.
excited.
yeah. Yes.
I have a feeling
Yeah,
we might be
talking
playing
about
that
it.
one.
Yeah.
we might talk about it.
yes.
You know.
Good. Super excited.
Were there any other things from that indie showcase, Katie, that stood out to you that you're really excited about?
Vicky hit the big ones, but also they talked about is this seat taken being
Yeah.
on Switch as
Oh,
well.
gotcha.
So
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
one other, yeah,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It was a good one. I was super excited.
yeah. All of the games looked at least good and interesting,
Mhm.
Nice.
but Vicky hit the ones that I remembered.
Yeah.
I'll have to watch that after this while I'm hanging out with you,
Yes.
Hell yeah!
since I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. Do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. I say that with deep breath for reasons I will expand upon, but all good
Sure.
things. But as we mentioned at the top, we read the book Dear Mothman, a novel in verse by Robin Gow. This is a 2023 middle grade book, and it involves a young trans boy and Mothman. Notably, just Mothman, not the Mothman, so interesting point for me. I've only known it with the. But Robin is from rural Pennsylvania, which is where our story takes place in like a similar-ish area. And Robin uses pronouns it, they, and he, so you might hear us use any of those along the way. We did want to give a couple content warnings. So there is youth death, kind of underpinning the whole story. Cryptids, general spookiness at times, but not always. Katie and I both made it through, so I think it's okay. Scariness wise. There's some bullying, and then missing children. Anything else that folks might want to be aware of?
With the youth death, and I know you kind of said it's underpinning this. It doesn't happen
Yeah.
within the story; it happens prior to the story.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good point. Thank you. Spoilers will abound. So if you do want to read this book, and if that sounded interesting and up your alley, pause, come back, and then tell us about it later. Do we want to start with a one-sentence description to kind of frame a little bit? Does anybody have one?
Yeah. Oh, I was saying, yeah, do we want to start that way? But it sounded like I said, yeah, do I have one?
Oh,
And
yeah.
I don't have one. It's hard. This is like an interesting book to describe. I think I would start kind of like what is happening in the book more than anything else.
Yeah.
I think I would say that this is about a young boy who becomes very interested in Mothman as a result of a friendship and becomes really intent on finding evidence of Mothman, despite how everyone around him feels about him seeking out Mothman.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would say something about this being a book written poetically about grief, about exploring yourself and finding like awe in the world around you and the people around you.
Yeah. Those are both really nice. I think the only thing I would add is just like using journaling as a way to process, or using poetry as a way to process some of that grief and getting to some of that self-understanding. But yeah, I think both of that's pretty much it.
I think the last thing I would throw in there, because I know it will speak to some people very specifically, is this is a story that compares queerness with like monsters and cryptids, which is like a very like important thing for some people and very important thing for the character in this book. And so that's like a very specific interest I know some folks have. So that might convince some folks that this is for them.
Yeah.
I also thought of two other content things, soups quick. There is like some dead naming in here, and it's handled in a way that makes sense and, you know, talks about why that happens within the book. And there also is some like the bullying is sometimes a little ableist and queerphobic type of stuff, even if the kids don't necessarily know that's why they're doing those things.
Yeah. Vicky, I'm very curious as to how you chose this one, because you brought this one to the group.
So, yes, this is my official pick, but it comes through the guidance of the wonderful Katie. You know, when a friend shares something and wants us all to read it together, it's got to be something pretty special and wonderful. Part of me picked this as like immersion therapy. I have a horrible no relationship at all with Mothman.
Never met Mothman.
Yeah. Coming from like a cis perspective only, like my relationship to Mothman is like, I watched the Mothman movie. I lived in Ohio. I know where that bridge is. And have been terrified. I watched it way too little when my parents were out of town with my uncle, who should have never rented it from Drug Mart and showed it to us. And I have been terrified since that movie came out. So like literally, Mothman has been like a fear person of mine. So
I don't know if I knew that.
Oh yeah, that's why when you were like, I think we should, like, this is a really special book. I just read it, you know, and I want you to talk more about that. But you said that, and then you're like, and it's about Mothman. I was like, hell no, this will not happen. I will not do that.
Had a strong reaction for sure, but I didn't know all that.
Oh, yeah. No. Like, literally have been scared. One time in college, I took a class called The Art and Process of the Book, and we got to actually produce a chat book. And one of the groups did something on Mothman, and they had these illustrations, and I'm like, get the fuck away from me. Like, I want nothing to do with your book.
How could you do this to me?
I know.
I'm quitting class.
Yeah, literally have not had... I avoid, I get scared. So I sat on what you were saying about it, Katie. We had like a good sidebar, and then I thought about it, and I was like, you know, I think this is something I do want to read if it's so important to my friend. And I'm glad I did. But I would like, if you want to share anything else about, you know, why this book really spoke to you and how you found it in the first place.
Yeah. Well, one, knowing all that context now, thank you so much for like reading this. I had no idea that it was that deep.
Cool.
And so I heard of this book from a friend who recommended it. They are super into horror. They're fam, and so they were talking about this book a while ago, and I was just like, oh, that's cool. And then for some reason last month I was like, you know what, let me read it. This person talked about it being good, let me read it. And when I read it, I was struck by so many things. How it was written, the beauty within, and how, and we'll talk about this more, Doug already alluded to this being something that people would want to know, of how like Mothman as this creature who is seen and feared and misunderstood connects, how this young trans queer autistic boy kind of ends up seeing himself in Mothman, and how like that feeling of being misunderstood, that feeling of being feared is something, as Doug alluded to, queer folks have seen within monsters, within horror, like villains and stuff like that. And so this was a book that explored that in really beautiful ways and explicit ways, and put like, I read it again for this, you know, because it was so good. And, you know, there are so many things I was taking notes on that had like such beautiful sentiments and beautiful moments. And so When I brought it up, I knew Doug would fucking love this. And so I brought it up when we were hanging out, and I knew it was like a shorter book. And I knew it was a beautiful, like it had emotion within it, at least for me when I was reading it. And there were parts of it that are very gentle and like all this sort of stuff. And so I knew there were things that Vicky, you would like too. And so I brought it up, and I'm very glad. Doug, I knew you'd be down. But Vicky, I'm very glad you were willing to go on this journey to find Mothman and seek understanding for things that are unknown.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that you explaining, because I did not know about like the queer connection sometimes with like monsters and stuff. So I think that perspective alone like really helped me reframe Mothman. But just like being more open to even reading this book and being open to considering Mothman something else, or like a sympathetic, like an individual, not the scary unknown thing. So that was I like to think I'm a pretty open-minded person, but I've just not ever been pulled out of like that train of thought. I don't know if that makes sense, but it was different. I definitely had an experience reading it, and finding Mothman had feelings and like not emoted, but just like it's not a scary.
We might not have understood it because we don't know that Mothman, right? We don't know how they emote or express, right?
Yeah, I mean, did things
we can. Yeah, I mean, we're officially talking about the book
we're
now,
into it
right?
now,
Sort of thing. So, I guess a second spoiler warning if
happening for realsies now.
Yeah, if you got this far,
For real.
we're gonna like get into it because there was a quote I wrote down. I listened to it this time that speaks to some of that queer monster cryptid, even the language of monster. The main character Noah was like, I don't know, is that right? Like, I guess maybe it is, and maybe I'm a monster too, Yeah. But I know it's hard being what people might consider a monster. It seems to me that monsters are almost always misunderstood. That monster is what people become when other people are afraid of them for being different. I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
There are like so many moments in this book where it's like, damn, if you genuinely just like stop and think about things a little bit, what we describe as other, what we describe as monster, who we villainize in our lives or in the like mainstream, there are resonance. There's resonating, whatever.
Yeah.
It tracks.
For sure.
I didn't write this beautiful book. I can't speak like it.
Oh my goodness. So kind of question, since you listened to it this time around, Doug, how did you interact with the book?
A bit of both.
Okay.
I listened to some of it. I read some of it with my eyeballs, largely because of how it's written. I knew it was a novel in verse, and sometimes listening to it it's not as obvious how it is written on the page. And so I wanted to be able to see certain parts of it on the page.
Okay.
Just because my poetry brain wanted like a fuller picture of how it was being written. So a bit of both.
Okay. So then I read it exclusively. So with the audio version, I feel like the pictures and images made a huge difference. And then for me, like towards the end, the alignment, and I am not a poetry person, so like I would forget that this was in verse at times and just like read it like I would read a normal or a traditional style novel.
A non-verse book?
A non-verse book, yeah. So like that didn't even register to me sometimes. Did that come through in the audio at all? Or do you feel like, Katie, especially you, having done run-throughs of both?
I mean, you can't see the pictures in the audiobook, but and I can't remember because I read it with my eyes like a month ago.
Yeah.
If Noah says like, and I drew this picture of you, whatever, in the woods or something, but they would say that in the audiobook. So I was like, oh, okay, this must be where one of the drawings is, sort of thing.
Okay.
Doug, since you kind of did both together, you can maybe speak to that a little fresher than I can.
there's a couple things there. One, there were a couple things that the audiobook did to adjust to being audio in the way that a lot of audiobooks will, particularly nonfiction does it, because if a nonfiction book in writing refers to itself as like being read, it usually will then be referred to as being listened to in the audiobook. So like there were certain things where like in a list, Noah crossed something out and you could just see that on the page. So then in the audiobook, the narrator had to like read that line and then say check, which isn't actually written on the page. So there's like little things here and there to try to communicate things that you wouldn't get from listening to it. I wouldn't say that a lot of the structural stuff that you see on the page, I didn't think was coming through very much in the audiobook, which is why I wanted to see it.
Yeah.
A lot of, not all of it, but a lot of the way that the author writes, like dialogue or like internal thoughts and stuff is very prosy, like to the point where I was like, I'm really curious about why some of it isn't like prose poetry, which is like a whole like kind of poetry. So sometimes it was really obvious based on how the narrator would like slow certain things or like say certain things or break up certain sentences in seemingly unnatural ways, but other times it truly just felt like the narrator was reading like a prose fiction book.
Okay.
I'm interested, a question going to plot stuff, because the first time I read it, up until Mothman's fucking standing at that door, was like, is Mothman real?
Good,
how could
yeah.
these scribbles be happening? Or how could it be open? Or like, so where did you all fall on the, is Noah actually communicating with Mothman? Is Mothman actually communicating back? Or is this a child in grief looking to see things and then making meaning out of things? Like how did y'all land?
At first I was definitely in this child is trying to make meaning of what is happening, and like the page turned because of the wind, whatever. But then when it started getting a little bit more consistent, and then when the drawings started popping up, I was like, oh, this is like a parent who is more perceptive than they're letting on, trying to help their kid through this. And I really thought it was the dad because he seemed so like anti, that it's like, oh, you're putting on this front because like you're doing this thing. So I really did not think it was a real thing. Even at the door, I was like, that's somebody with like a flashlight. So all the way until like they were in the woods, I was like,
damn.
We're going to find out that, well, and honestly, that's me. I don't want, sorry, I don't want Mothman to be real. That was me like apologizing to Mothman.
I was going to say, you all couldn't see that. Like, I was going to call you out, but you did it to yourself. Vicky fully like apologized to like the space around her in case, Mothman was listening.
Yes. Doug, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I was skeptical is maybe not the right word, because I feel like skepticism often implies that like you don't want to believe something is real. But I can't think of a better term. So I would say I was skeptical until about halfway through the door interaction at the sleepover, because when the door interaction at the sleepover happens, which is the first time even Noah like witnesses firsthand like some sort of body attached to the Mothman. Even when that starts, it's Noah reacts first. And so I was like, okay, if Mothman isn't real, then Noah has like fallen asleep, because they kept commenting on how tired they were and how they kept wanting to go to sleep, and Noah kept being like, just 5 more minutes, 10 more minutes. And like 5 more minutes to me is like a thing that you say when you go back to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of was like still ready for it not to be real, but once Noah's friends all react and are scared, and then the next day are still talking about it, I was like, oh, they did actually experience something. And I couldn't quite think of what would simulate 2 red eyes, and so I was at that point like willing to believe Mothman was real, with like a tiny thing in the back of my head still being like, it's still like a bunch of 12-year-olds, and like I convinced myself of a lot of things when I was 12 years old, that weren't necessarily actually happening in front of me. So that's where I was like willing to sort of lean on the side of Mothman as real.
Yeah.
But then it became I think, a little bit clearer once there were like handprints and all this other stuff. I will say, Vicky, you talked about it being the dad or one of the parents. I was very worried, like for a long time, even beyond when I thought Mothman was probably real. I was very worried this was going to be a book where it did turn out like, it wouldn't have been bad for the book, but I would have felt terrible for the characters that this was going to be a story where it was one of the parents and Noah was going to find out that it was one of the parents, because I do think that would be like a really devastating thing to go through when this is like a grief thing. Even though Mothman's real, it is still a lot of grief processing and understanding the world through this relationship with Mothman. So I was really worried that was going to happen. I'm really glad it's not what happened.
Katie, did you say
that the parent being Mothman literally never crossed my mind?
Oh, I was like the whole way through.
I was just like, oh shit, at the door, Mothman's real, you know, sort of
That's
thing.
how I coped.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm so glad it wasn't, Doug, to your point, because I think about not only would then Noah have been like, Mothman's not real, this thing that was so important to my friend who's not here, who I don't really know what to do with, is not real, and like he believed in him so much, but also my parents have been reading my stuff and I don't know if I want them to do that, and they now know things about me that I wasn't ready to share, you know, sort of stuff. So I'm very glad that it was Mothman and not the parent sort of thing. Yeah, I was glad too. I know, Vicky, you didn't want Mothman to be real because Mothman can be scary, but I was worried about that, and I was always worried. I was also worried just about like how you would execute a story where, you know, a queer autistic kid is, you know, seeing something everyone else isn't, and I can just see a world where like that story is just written in a way that's like, what are we trying to accomplish here? But it's actually all really elegant and all really, really cool.
Yeah. I will say I was happy when they met Mothman in the forest. Like, I wasn't scared, but I was like very happy that they had that interaction, because it did feel like very much like, not closure, but really like, yes, this is, well, maybe, and Noah believed it the whole time, so it's me, the non-believer. But that felt good.
Well, I think as a reader, there's a catharsis to having that like confirmed so directly, and to have these characters who are like yearning and grieving and searching for something for the whole book to actually find it. I think there's a catharsis involved.
Yeah.
Well, and like from like the queer trans angle of connections to monsters, like one of the things that Noah, you know, says in here, I do think I know what it's like to feel like you only exist if people believe in you, right? And that transness, right? I don't believe that you are who you say you are, or Noah struggling with, if I don't tell people that my name is Noah, does that make me any less of Noah? Or am I not a boy, or am I a boy? You know, that sort of thing. Like, in order for me to be real, other people need to see me as real, right? And that's, you know, a fucked up thing, but not an uncommon thought. And then to have this like, is Mothman real? Is Mothman not real? And then to have in a book where it's like queued up and in symmetry and in parallel with like this trans identity, to be like, no, it's fucking real.
Yeah.
Mothman's real. Trans people are real. You know?
Yeah. It's validated.
It's like, no, that's fucking real.
Yeah, of course it's real. Yeah.
They were real without you believing. Like, Mothman was real without any one of y'all believing. But now you can believe, you know, even harder sort of thing.
Yeah, I do think for the themes of the book, it makes it much, much stronger. Like, there would be a way to land it without Mothman being real. Yeah. But I don't think it would have been as strong. And like in universe, like you're saying, Katie, like it wouldn't be as strong because there's nothing in universe to point to be like, see, you were fucking wrong about that. Maybe you could be wrong about other things.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yep.
When Mothman showed up at the sleepover at first, the first time I read it, I'm not gonna lie, it was a little spooky. That was the one part I was like, maybe I should wait to read this tomorrow morning instead of late at night. Because the red eyes, right? Like, I feel like they did a good job of like describing it. And then the fear from the kids in there. And then I was like, what if I was just like and the kids go through this too. And Noah is like, I'm sorry for reacting and being scared of you, but I was. And like, I think about, seeing new things or, saying we're open, right? I like to think I can be an open-minded person and an open person and an accepting person. But also if I saw a Mothman, right? Like, even if they were nice, I would probably be scared too. And so I was imagining this, like, to be confronted with the unexpected, even when you do believe or do expect, it can still be a jarring experience. And so I felt like that moment was really cool. And the ways that they processed afterwards were really also cool. I don't know. Did you all have any reactions around that or any, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I do like that you get to hear and read Noah's thoughts about that and processing of that and like examining his own feelings on his reaction because it really is like a talking the talk versus walking the walk thing. And I think the fact that you as a reader get to witness somebody who didn't necessarily walk the walk in the moment, examine what it meant to not do that and why that might have happened, and examine how they feel as a result of not walking the walk and how they might tackle it differently, but not even necessarily be sure if it's going to be different the next time, but want to be different the next time. I think is a really cool thought process to see. I think one of the biggest strengths of this book is a lot of the internal dialogue that we get to witness, because whether it's about like reckoning with a reaction to Mothman or about reckoning with a reaction to friends or a sort of figuring out over the length of the book what a feeling means and whether there's a name for it in I have a different name just because I have a different name and it feels right to, oh, trans people are real and strong and beautiful. Like, I think getting to see those thought processes is probably my favorite part of the book. And I think it isn't just all the big stuff. Sometimes it's the littler, more specific things like reacting to Mothman and thinking about reacting to Mothman.
I had jotted down some of the more striking bits was when Noah would say something to a parent or to the counselor and then process like, but what I really wanted to say was XYZ. It's like, oh my gosh, like, oh, like, and I'm, rooting for Noah. So like, I want Noah to say those things too, to like be able to process all this stuff. The stair scene was like pretty intense. I was like, ooh, but I through a lot of the book, I felt very sad, like just a feeling of sadness. And it's weird because I enjoyed this book and it was very like, it's powerful and it's not supposed, like it's not like a personal sadness and I wasn't crying, but I just felt sad for Noah, I think, in the situation. And so in that scene, Noah also comes to reckon with, like, I realized how much I miss Lewis, as also I've had this missed opportunity with Mothman, and, like, here are my other friends, and they're also scared, so, like, all of these things, and that, like, broke my heart even more, too, like, you wanted to see Mothman, you saw Mothman, missed a chance, and then, oh yeah, like, your friend is still not here.
Yeah, I mean, that's, like, such a huge... Like, that's such a huge element of, like, a grief story. Like, I love a grief movie, baby. And one of the big things in those is exactly that moment that you're talking about, Vicky, where it's like, the things that I'm doing right now in my everyday life all tie back to this person that I am missing and how I'm trying to process living without this person. Yeah. And so everything you do or don't do when you're still working through that ends up reflecting back on your thoughts about this person. And so failing to do something in the moment ends up getting misconstrued as like a failure to the person you're trying to remember. And you tie all those feelings together and it makes everything feel a lot sadder or bigger because everything ends up feeling like this big connected mass of grief. And it's important and it's like painful, but it ends up being painful and sad.
And you're 12.
But powerful and triumphant by the end,
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, there were so many moments where the grief like hit things. So like when Noah was like, I wonder what Lewis's parents are doing. I wish I would have like reached out to them, but I didn't, or something. Or I wonder, Lewis always said he wanted to be X, Y, or Z when he grew up, and now he'll never be anything. And I was like, fuck. Like, because I feel like a lot of times when we talk, I mean, death is hard to conceptualize and think about for folks of any age, but especially for kids, to see the way like the adults around him did or did not directly address or give space to like explicitly, let's just talk about it. Like the moment where Lewis is brought up in a conversation between Noah and his mom starts crying, and Noah's like, I'm sorry. Like, and his mom's like, no, like, I'm sad too. The ways that adults and kids do or do not openly acknowledge the grief that they're feeling when someone that they both know, right, has like passed. And it got me thinking about like, all the ways we dismiss kid feelings, but how much could be going on inner that they don't know how to express, or they do know how to express, but you're not expressing. And so then they think they can't express. And I wish my teacher would just understand that I need more time and not tell me I need to get back on track. Like, all these things about how the world and adults in particular forget that little kids can feel really strong things too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, two things that really sort of like struck me, like two moments that struck me. One was, and I think you were kind of referencing this, Katie, where Noah is like, soon enough I'm going to be in high school, and then I'm going to be in college, and Lewis is still going to be a 12-year-old. Like, just because the whole book, like, Noah's trying to reckon with like what happens to a dead person, and so like every time he tries to like imagine what that's like, it ends up hitting really hard. And then the other moment that I was reminded of when you were talking about like particularly adults and parents, there's a moment where Noah's parents come back from like a standard parent-teacher conference, and his dad is like, oh my gosh, this is like so great, it sounds like you're doing really well and you're passing all your classes. And Noah like recognizes that is a compliment and that it is meant to be like an acknowledgement of a measurement of success. But Noah internally is like, and all I could really hear was, I'm so glad you're becoming normal again, or you're becoming normal, or like all he could hear was like, I'm so glad you're normal. And that's like such a devastating thing to hear from parents. So it's like devastating to read that is how Noah is hearing those things.
Yeah.
And it's like I get why he's hearing it that way, but it's a bummer. It's just one of those like communication about feelings things that adults and kids don't always end up on the same page about.
Yeah.
I read that, and then a lot of the things we read into now I frame as like, as a parent, this is how I'm thinking, and so like, oh God, how do I make sure I don't do that? Like, because it was well-intentioned, right? Because it's like, it's a sign that, your kid might be okay, or like getting to like process through this, but like obviously impact versus intent. It's like, oh, how do I not?
I think it's particularly complicated when you're specifically the person responsible for their well-being and success, right? And so you're looking for those signs. I think it ends up making for interesting stories anytime a parent or an adult or a caregiver is trying to help a grieving child, or even just a kid going through something people don't understand, is trying to like help them succeed. Because like sometimes all you can do is like try and hope that it's the right thing. But then as long as you're sort of like assessing with and asking questions and like acknowledging that kids can feel things in a big way, I think you're going to land on the side of doing right and taking care of that kid.
Yeah. I think it was also like further complicated in this story because Noah is autistic and explicitly said like, I used to be in classes that actually were really helpful with like the extra support.
Oh my God,
and then I was out of those classes because Lewis was giving me extra support, and Lewis isn't here anymore. But I can't say that because they want me to be normal, right?
But all I want to do is go back to those classes.
Yeah. That killer.
Yeah.
It's wild how much like this how much this book tackles and contains within. And like, I don't know, I feel like does a lot of things that, I mean, I feel like people of all ages should read this. It like really is a thinker, you know, like there's such depth. And I don't know.
Yeah.
There's so much in here that like can help people of all ages reflect on how do you want the world to be and how do you want to be in the world, and how could you maybe act in ways to help align those things. Because I think so much, like one of the things I really like, the internal processing piece, is how thoughtful these kids are. Like when we start reading Hannah's letters towards the end, when Hannah was like, Hannah's mom was like, hey, like, do you know where Noah went? And Hannah's like, okay, I think I do. But also, Noah wouldn't want me to say anything right now, so I'm going to, like, hold off a little bit. As an adult who is like, there's a missing child, tell your mom where Noah's at, dude. I was very much that. But then as someone who was like, this person is understanding what their friend needs in this moment, or their partner, significant other, whatever, right, needs in this moment, and is going to make moves to, like, help them in there. I also love that. So my responsible side and like little kid go off and do your thing side are at like war.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did any of you feel this conflict, or were you just like, tell your mom?
No, I was like, tell your mom. Okay, I was a little frustrated with that. Like, I think I liked the thoughtfulness and the intention, but at the end of the day, it's like, your friend is missing. Your very deeply cared about person is missing. Like, this is a safety concern. Like, yes, they do need that space, but also, like, they need food. They need water. They might freeze to death. I don't remember what time of year it was. It was summer. It was almost summer. So, yeah, I was not okay with that.
Yeah, I was not particularly conflicted about it either. Because I don't even think it's because they were kids versus adults. I think if they were adults and the decision that Hannah made was like, I'm not going to tell anybody that I know where this person is, I'm just going to go do it myself, I would have been like, that's not a smart thing to do. That's like that's not what Noah needs, actually. So I wasn't particularly conflicted about it either, but I appreciate the thoughtfulness and I appreciate that the book is willing to portray those thought processes, because I think there is more going on in how kids make those decisions than just kids are irresponsible. Like, I don't think that's all it boils down to, you know, because I can see an adult making the same, what I think is a mistake, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess I should say, in the real world, outside of this book, I would be like, yeah, we need to tell everybody. Like, but I was like, this is kind of a fantasy world where Mothman is real. And so these kids can be emotionally mature, and she said Noah knows the woods, so Noah knows the woods and knows how to get out.
I was like, Noah does not know the woods.
I think that's the thing, right? I think there's like the context. I mean, I love an adventure where or a book or a story or a movie where it's like the kids are just on an adventure and like, who cares where the adults are? The kids are doing their thing. I think it's the context of the book that made me feel the way that I did.
That's fair. That's fair.
But I love the adventure they could have been on. Like, this book could have been more about their adventure together seeking out Mothman. And I don't think I would have been as anxious
children.
About it. Right.
Oh, cool. Children of the Moth. But I in other situations too, I really appreciated the like emotional intelligence that trio had towards Noah, but just in general. The way that they welcomed him and like let him LARP with them. They were playing wolves. Like, that was so sweet. And I felt like, I mean, there were some like bullying and negative things in the book too, but I felt like there were some really great opportunities where things could have gone wrong for Noah. Like, Noah put himself out there to go play with them. And it was good, you know, like, it was a brave thing. And then they were really cool. And they always responded, for the most part, with like some kind of like reflective attitude, or like, oh, like, that's, you know, or like, oh, tell us more about Lewis, or whatever it was. So I feel like they were very emotionally mature, which was very, very sweet.
Yeah. all these kids are more emotionally mature than
Oh my God.
like pretty much every person I've ever met in real life,
And I think to your point
including
about,
myself.
yeah, this book being good for like anybody to read. Like if I actually was 12 and reading this book, like to see that mirrored as like what friends do and how friends care about each other, I think that would be really special. Like make a big, and I appreciated it now as an adult, but I think as a kid reading it, like, shoot, that's like pretty important.
I think the thing that stands out to me as far as like what I think is cool that kids are getting out of this, like obviously there's plenty of stuff just through like what Noah's thought processes are and how his friends are reacting to him and stuff. But like one thing I think about a lot, because Derek and I did that whole miniseries about like queerness in movies that are meant for families, is like this book has some of the stuff I love to see those types of movies and stories do, which is the lessons for adults are really, really great because it's showing them how to act. But in this book, the way that people react to Noah when they learn new things about Noah is something that a kid reading this can now say, people can act that way. And I deserve people to react positively like the way I saw Noah's friends react. Or I deserve an adult who asks me the types of questions that the teacher asked me. And like checked in and asked some back and forth questions about what was okay when I told this to her. Like that's what I deserve as a kid. And I think that's a thing that I don't know that I thought a lot about before we like really dove deep into how those things can be communicated. But I think about it a lot now because I think about the types of things I wish that I had seen in TV or in books that would have told me like, yeah, that's what you deserve for a positive adult reaction, you know? So I like that this book is really, you know, there's so many stories that are valuable, but are way more dedicated to bad reactions because a lot of times those are realistic reactions. But good reactions are also realistic, and you want kids to see that they can have them and that they deserve them.
Yeah. There were also moments in here, I can't remember, but like just like some of the things Noah said were like not unexpected, but like so like straightforward and funny. Like when Mrs. Allman tries to tell me that I should do this, I don't like when people tell me that I should do things.
I
was like,
never related more to a character in my life.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want people to give me ideas, even when they're good ideas.
Yes. Oh my God.
Like, this is the thing I know about myself. And one day, Noah, you'll know it about yourself, and you will navigate that.
That was good.
There are just like little moments like that peppered throughout the book where I was like, fuck yeah, Noah.
Yeah. Going back to the drawings, I hate to say it, but I appreciated the drawing style of Mothman, of MM, as I've annotated. I feel like some of them were almost like chibi in nature and made Mothman a little bit more friendly looking.
Yeah,
for me.
I mean,
the cover image is a lot
Yeah.
less scary than what you'd typically see.
Yeah. You know,
the big test is, are you at least feeling more conflicted about Mothman after reading this book?
you know.
No.
Yeah.
I do.
Yes. I mean, here's the thing. I'm having. Sometimes when it's okay, this is safe space. You know, sometimes when it's really dark in the house and you can't see and you get scared and you go really fast up the stairs because you're like
for
a little
sure.
nervous. Yeah, that still happens as an adult. I still don't necessarily want to interact with the Mothman, but I'm at least open to like maybe I don't understand. Maybe I have like misunderstood things. So like a little bit more palatable, but like still, please, stay your place.
This version of Mothman, at least.
Yeah.
I think that there is, and you know, not for me to tell you how you will feel in the future, but I think that Mothman does represent something that I think you, Vicky, specifically appreciate in other monsters and characters.
Oh no.
Because I do think Mothman and a lot of monsters, like I know we talked about this as something very specific in like a lot of queer media, but Vicky, you're a Godzilla fan.
Oh no.
Like there are you understand Kratos in a way that I think a lot of people don't. And I think it's not just like we joke about it, but I think a lot of it is because you see through a particular like layer of like quote monstrosity that other people see in these types of characters. And so like obviously Mothman is a specific one for you based on that movie, but I do think there's potential for, you know, peace. Maybe not a relationship, but like peace with Mothman.
Peace is a good word. And I do think this book is part of that because like literally I compartmentalize it anytime it's brought up. Like there's a car. Honestly, this, like, it might be a real thing. Mothman might be real. There's a car that parks on the street and, you know, the big tall hill that you drive down. And it's like Mothman Appreciation Club bumper sticker. And like, I don't want to see this. And so like, I look away the second I see that car because like, I don't even want to see it. So, yes, there has maybe been like a reckoning and some peacefulness where there was not any like... There were walls,
there's room
and now there's
where
like
there wasn't
maybe
room
a window.
before.
Yeah, not a window, like a tiny peephole where I'm like, okay, be a right,
Look,
Doug.
you don't turn a couple decades of Mothman trauma around in one day.
Yeah, in one book. That's not, you got to think and process.
Yeah,
maybe write some letters to Mothman.
There you go. Or to whomever, you know, dear blank, whoever.
Whomever is receiving. Yeah.
Right. I will say, Vicky, I do love that, like, what this book, like, I love that you describe this as, like, a bit of immersion therapy for you specifically, because when I was a kid, I was afraid of everything. And a lot of the things that I think you would interpret, like, if you didn't believe Mothman was real in this book and you thought about, like, okay, what is Noah seeing? What are the things that Noah might be misinterpreting as a monster or whatever? Are all the things that scared me as a kid, right? So, like, a car drives by and then lights crawl across your ceiling.
Yeah.
Or, like eyes in a raccoon's reflecting eyes in the bush. Like, these are all the things that scared the shit out of me because I was interpreting them a certain way. But because I was afraid of everything, I've talked about this before, I got to a point where I was like, I'm sick of being afraid of everything, so I'm going to force myself to watch scary movies at night. And this was when the Mothman prophecies had come out. And so the Mothman prophecy or whatever is one of the movies that I would watch to help stop being afraid of things. So I feel like you and I have a connection here.
Yeah, look at that, kindred spirits.
Over Mothman, yeah.
Different reactions, but
I'm way further along in that, though. So, you know.
Oh my goodness. Oh man.
How are folks feeling thumb-wise?
Oh, thumbs up. It was when I got past the Mothman thing. You know, because I'm so elevated now. It's very like gentle and tender, and it's like hard to describe. But I did really enjoy this book despite some of the heavy themes. And I'm really glad I read it. So thanks for sharing it with us, Katie. So two thumbs for me.
Yeah, it's a thumbs up for me. I really like what the like what it's exploring. I like the themes. I like the like narrative and thematic poetry of this between Noah and Mothman. I think it's all handled really, really well. And I think it's like important. I think it's an important book for all kinds of people to read. Mild bomb drop. There is a part of me that would like love to read this book like with a poetry workshop, because there's a broken part of my brain that doesn't necessarily love how it's written. But that's a thing that I'm going to reread the book and sort of like think about specifically. But that has nothing to do with like the actual content of the book, which is a big thumbs up for me.
Yeah. I'm thumbs up and all the way for this. I mean, y'all said stuff, but it was like, I don't know. It was such a good fucking book. Reading it twice. I've never read a book twice in 2 months, you know, sort of thing. I just really loved it. So many cool things. More people should read it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm really glad we read it. I'm really glad we read it together. I hope that this inspires people to read it. And I hope that some folks who read it are listening to us specifically because they wanted to hear other people talking about it. And regardless of why you're here, thank you for being here. Thanks for picking this. Thanks for telling Vicky about it to pick it. Thanks everybody for listening. If you have read Dear Mothman and want to let us know your thoughts, you can connect to us through email at novelgamingpodcast@gmail.com or on Blue Sky and Instagram at novelgamingpod. If you want to have a poetry workshop about this book, reach out to me. If you enjoy what we do, please rate, review, and subscribe to Novel Gaming wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to check out the Glitterjaw Queer Podcast Collective for other cool queer podcasts. We would all be very grateful for it. And we will be back soon with a new episode talking about something we may have just, referenced pretty heavily earlier.
I don't know. We could
playing
play
the
it.
game Tiny Bookshop.
Yeah.
Whoa.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.